Why attractive men are hated. Being an attractive man is not just advantages. Yes, there are benefits. I'm not going to sit here and pretend there aren't. But once you actually live with it for a while, you start to notice the darker side of it. Or better yet, you'll notice how it brings out the darker side of people. One thing you'll notice is just how much hate you get from men. And I don't mean obvious confrontational hate. I mean the subtle hate. The subtle hate that only someone who's aware can pick up on. The little comments, the weird looks, the energy that just feels off. You ever just be somewhere, look off to the side and catch somebody staring at you, but not in a casual people watching way, more like they're measuring you, sizing you up, studying you. Guys, I'll be in the gym, look off to the side and catch a motherfucker eyeballing me. Now I'm all for people watching, it's in our nature. But when you got a motherfucker staring like Jack Torrance, we might have a problem. You will get some women staring at you in awe, that's different. But when you're an attractive man, you'll notice men actually stare at you more than women. But it's not just the staring, it shows up even more when you actually talk to them. How they try to one-up you, drop jokes that seem funny on the surface, but they're clearly meant to get under your skin. Or make you feel like you're doing something wrong. I remember I was benching at the gym, in my own little bubble, got Linkin Park blasting in my headphones. One of the regulars, a guy who's been there forever and who I've talked to a few times before, comes up to me and says, "Pretty boy like you should be benching more than that." Now guys, I already told you about the story in my attractive plus quiet video. This was a different guy, but I was literally warming up both times, meaning these dudes were watching me. And I'm not in the gym trying to win Mr. Olympia. I lift my weights and focus on doing it properly. So right away I knew this wasn't about the weight. He was trying to get under my skin. And he didn't do it in a confrontational way, like I said earlier. He did it in a casual fist bump kind of way. But what the fuck am I supposed to say to that? Whenever you're in a situation and you're like, what am I supposed to say to that? You're being tested. And because I recognized what he was doing, I did the opposite of what he thought I was gonna do. He probably was expecting me to get defensive or reactive. I just smirked and said, "I appreciate it, man, thanks." And that's the thing. Most guys would have jumped right into the trap. Not only did I keep control of the situation, I quietly made him look like an idiot. I really wanted to strangle that motherfucker, but you guys get what I'm saying. And I know some guys are thinking that was a harmless comment, but let me ask you guys something. If I looked like Sloth from the Goonies, do you guys think he would have said something? That's the thing about being an attractive guy. People go out of their way to put you down. Because sometimes when another man sees you and feels like you might outshine him, whether it's physically or socially, he goes into defense mode. It's like two dogs in a yard. One of them isn't doing anything and that crackhead chihuahua starts barking for no reason, just to make themselves feel bigger than they really are. They got a concept for that, guys. The Napoleon complex. Y'all ever notice how the smaller dog doesn't shut the fuck up? Because it's compensating for something. It feels it needs to assert itself and make up for what it lacks in size. Very similar to what happens with attractive men. You naturally make insecure guys feel small, and that's exactly why they feel the need to put you down. That's probably the thing I noticed the most. Just how far men and women will go to put you down. It's happened to me a lot at the gym, but the gym isn't the only place this happens. You'll see it at work, at social gatherings, even around your so-called friends. Sometimes a guy will start acting extra competitive around you for no reason. They compete with you over dumb shit, or people will interrupt you more when you're talking. They don't like that attention on you. I remember wearing a simple ass shirt for a work Christmas party, and a girl says, "Damn, who are you trying to impress?" Translation: "Damn, he looks good." And you know who usually gives you the most trouble? It's usually the women you're not even checking for. It's usually the women who know you're not interested in them. So to counter that, they feel the need to throw in a little jab. I've dealt with this a lot at jobs I've worked at. It's a subtle way of leveling the playing field. Like, alright, relax, don't come in here thinking you're hot shit. That's what's in their head. And that's what you'll notice, how people try to humble you. You could be the most humble person in the room, but because you're good looking, people won't think that. People see confidence and good looks and start making assumptions about your personality. Some women assume that if you're attractive, you must be toxic, and if you're not toxic, then something's wrong with you. That's why some women won't date attractive men. Like there's no way you're grounded or genuine. The stereotype says the good-looking guy is the villain, the cheater, the narcissist, the player, the guy who'll break your heart. So you're fighting an image before you even speak. That gets fucking exhausting at some point. This is what we call the reverse halo effect. You've probably heard of the halo effect. When someone looks good, people assume everything about them is good. They're smart, funny, talented. The reverse halo effect is the opposite. People see your good looks and immediately attach negative assumptions: arrogance, narcissism, entitlement. You could literally do something kind or thoughtful, and instead of taking it at face value, people act almost surprised, as if you're not supposed to be that way. Guys, I once helped a woman unrack the weights after some dumbass left like 10 plates on the leg press. She was almost like uneasy about it, like someone who looks like this shouldn't be doing this. See, when you're attractive, you create an invisible expectation. People start projecting onto you what they think you're like rather than who you actually are. So when you do something they didn't expect, it throws them off. It doesn't fit the story they built in their head, so your actions feel bigger than they really are. This is what happens to attractive men all the time. You walk into a room and a narrative is already written about you. If you're quiet, like I am, you're stuck up. If you're confident, you're full of yourself. If you dress well, you're trying too hard. If you don't talk much, you think you're better than everyone. There's no neutral setting as an attractive man. You see how extreme it gets? And what people don't understand is that this can actually be isolating. Because when enough people treat you like you're arrogant, eventually you start pulling back even more. You start keeping your circle small. Not because you think you're better than people, but because the energy just gets weird. Conversations feel like tests, jokes feel like the truth. People are measuring you instead of just interacting with you, so nothing feels real. Now, I could play dumb and act like I don't notice, but I really don't know how to do that. Guys, I've always struggled in the workplace for these reasons, and it only gets worse the more aware you are. Once you start seeing through people, you can't unsee it. That's why I'm a very guarded person. I don't rock with dudes like that. People call it trust issues, I call it learning from my mistakes. See, when you're an attractive man, you got to be careful who you let into your life. See, when I was 250 pounds, I never saw the dark in people because they never needed to show me it. It wasn't until I lost weight that I saw people's true nature. That's why I think attractive people are smarter than they get credit for. Now, you do got some dumbasses, but the ones who aren't, they move a lot more calculated. They're observant and realer than most people. They've seen some shit. Guys, I'm like Michael Myers when I go into a venue. I'm not gonna stab nobody, but even if I'm not looking directly at you, I'm very aware of what's going on around me. You start noticing people's energy real quick, and when you do that long enough, you start to notice who you actually get along with. Most of my good friends are guys that women perceive as attractive, and it makes sense because these are guys who've probably been through the same shit. There's a connection there already. They're not wearing a mask every time I see them. So I'm not saying every man hates attractive men. Secure men don't. But secure men are not the overwhelming majority. It's those insecure motherfuckers that will hate on you. Because to an insecure person, normal confidence looks like arrogance. And experiencing that over and over can start to mess with your mindset. You can't let this make you bitter. Now, me personally, I really don't like people. I think they're self-absorbed idiots. But I still don't let that turn into bitterness. Because it's very easy to start thinking, man, everybody's against me. It's a good competitive edge to have, but that's not really what's happening. What's actually happening is a lot simpler. You're confident, you have a presence about you. That presence goes one of two ways. It either draws people in, or it makes them feel threatened. Some men will want to be your friend, some men will want to break your jaw. Some women will want to suck you off, some women will act like you're invisible. But no matter how people react, you can't let that dictate who you really are. My channel is centered on being yourself but having boundaries. The mistake would be to shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. Fuck those motherfuckers. I'm not gonna slouch so someone else feels taller. I'm not gonna act less confident so someone else feels secure. Fuck them. I'm not gonna pretend I don't take care of myself either. I'm not half man, half makeup over here, but goddamn, at least I take a fucking shower before I leave the house. Real confidence is not about proving anything to anyone. It's quiet, but it's unshakable. So walk into every room like you own that shit. Most of these motherfuckers don't have a presence. You do. Use that shit. Speak your mind when you want to. Move the way you want to move. Stop giving a fuck what anyone thinks. I promise your life will improve once you adopt this mindset. And remember, if you've got haters, congratulations. It's proof you're doing something right. Until next time.